Hi guys, welcome back. It's a Saturday today, and rather than doing any jobs out on site, I'm going to be working on the van. Time for a service. The service intervals for these are actually 20,000 mile, but I like to do one every 10,000 just to keep on top of things. And we'll be changing the oil and the fuel filter, so here, and the air filter. I'll run through what bits I've got. So we've got obviously oil, good brand, we go for something decent, no point scrimping. Fuel filter there, again Bosch, that's the oil filter. I've got a sump plug in case I need that, and a washer there. If that sump plug's okay, I'll pop the washer on. And finally, I've got air filter to do, and then obviously I've got a few sockets and things. Luckily I've got a pit here that makes life much easier, so I'm going to get down there and we'll get cracked on. Before I get started, I'll just briefly give you a little bit of history on this van. It's a 2011 Fiat Scudo with a 2 litre engine. I think it's the HDI, well, that's what it is on the Peugeot variant. It's the same. In fact, I'll pop the bonnet, I'll show you which engine it is. So this is it, the 2 litre, I think it's actually the GTD it's called on the Scudo, but these are fitted throughout the Scudo, the Citroen Dispatch and the Peugeot Expert. This is a 2011, got 150,000 mile on it, just turned, and to be honest it runs sweet as a nut, probably down to changing the oil and everything, servicing every 10,000 miles rather than every 20. So right, I'll get down the pit, I'll get cracked on. Right, so I'm down in the pit. First thing is to remove this plastic cover. This is held on with M6 bolts, which take a 10mm socket, and there's 3 fixings, 3 bolts along the front there. 1, 2 at either side, and it looks like there's two at the back. We'll start taking these off. These often seize up, so I like to put a little bit of WD-40 or something on when I put them back in, probably a little bit of copper slip, something like that, just to make life easier next time. So I'll get all these cracked off, and then I'll show you what the next step is after that. Right, that's all the bolts out now, so there's the cover straight off. So we'll lift that out of the way. Now we can see up here, tell you what, it's quite oily there. Must have a bit of a leak, I'll have to have a look at that later. But that there's your sump plug. That's what we need to get out to drain the oil, so we'll do that next. Okay, so this sump plug, this particular one, uses an 8mm Allen key, so there's my Allen key attachment. So we're just going to crack that off. If it will go. There we go. That's finger tight now. So I'm just going to pop the socket off. Slide the bucket under there, ready to catch it. It's handy having this little shelf to hold the bucket. So now I'm going to undo this. What I tend to do is put pressure towards the plug, but try and hold it in till the last minute, and then hopefully I can grab it. Saying that it might stick on this Allen key. You won't really want to drop it into the bucket if you can help it. There, I can feel that's on the thread, so I'm going to quickly pull away, and there we go. Oil coming out. That's the messy bit. So now we're just going to leave that to drain for, well, give it a half hour or so, let all that come out, and then in the meantime we'll change the filter. Right, while that's draining, we're going to start removing the oil filter, and we'll get that changed. So the first thing to do, this cover here, this felt type cover, that just pops off like so. You'll be a bit careful with this because it is only felt and it can rip, so you've got to be a bit careful. If I remember right, there's an awkward one right at the back here somewhere. In fact, I hadn't even been clicked down. So now I need to move this out of the way. I'll just slide that. That'll be okay like that. Slid out the way. So now if we look down here, there's the oil filter down there. You can see that, and that needs a 27mm socket on there to undo that, so I'm going to do that now. So I've got the ratchet on, I don't know if you can see it clearly there. That's the oil filter, so I'm going to crack that off, turn it anti-clockwise. So I'm just going to unscrew that and wind it off. Put this piece of cardboard here because this part's a bit messy. I'm just pulling that oil filter cartridge out. There we go. Just get that on there. Just quickly get those little drips off that's down there. Right. So we'll bring that down here. That just pops out like so. Get the new one. I'm not sure if it has to go in any particular way. I think they can go in any way. We'll give that a quick wipe out. And we want to take that seal off there. Oh. Screwdriver. There's that O-ring, take that off. Right, get that off. There we go. There's the O-ring off. So I'm just going to give this a quick clean up and I'll be back here in a minute. I've cleaned the filter housing up as much as I can, new pair of gloves on. So now we're going to put the O-ring on. What I like to do, get some oil like this, tip it upside down to get a little bit in the lid, and just put a little bit on that new O-ring like so, and carefully pop it back on there. Just have to ease it into place there with the screwdriver. So there's the new O-ring in place. Pop the filter, I'll just check if that does. It is identical either way. That'll just sit in there. So now that's ready to go back into the van. Right, just going to put a little drop of clean oil on that seal again, just around there, and now we want to pop it back into the filter where it belongs. Just supporting the bottom of it in case it falls out. It shouldn't, it sort of clips in place. And then we'll tighten that up by hand, like so. And then I need to try and get in with my torque wrench. This needs to be torqued up to 25 Newton meters. So I've got my torque wrench here. That's set to 25 Newton meters. 27mm socket on. Now I'm hoping I can get, yeah, just right. So there we go. So we're going to tighten that up until it gets to 25 Newton meters. That's tight there. So I'm just there. Hear that clicking? There we are. 25 Newton meters. That's all torqued up. I'm just going to give the filter a quick wipe over there just to clean up, and then this here, we'll get that out ready. That's your funnel type of doofer for refilling it back up. So while that oil continues to drip, I'm going to do the air filter. Now these normal screws that hold the airbox on, I believe, are Phillips screws, but they all stripped on mine, so I've changed them for just a Tex screw route. I'll show you that in a bit. So first thing to do is we'll get this little bit of wiring out the way. I don't know whether we need to unplug this, but I'll take that plug off that wire, just make life easier, and hook it back there. So I think there's four, yep, there's 4 screws there, there, there and there. And like I say, they would normally be a Phillips screw head, but I've changed them for a tech screw, so now it's an 8mm socket that I used to undo them. So I'll crack all these off and then I'll show you what's inside. So the 4 retaining screws are now undone, so this box is loose, so I'm just going to lift that up like that. And there's, in fact there, I'll show you what those screws are. So if yours are a little bit stripped or whatever, it's probably worth changing them for something like this. If I can get it out there, just a tech screw. I think I've had to cut, they normally have a little self-drilling bit on the end there. I've had to chop that off, because that must have poked through or been too deep. And what are they? So they're about 35mm total length. That's what you need. I'll leave that one out. So there you can see now, that's out the way. There's your air filter element. So we'll lift that out and get in. There we go. That's out and rather dirty. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. There's quite a lot of leaves and things in there. I'm just going to quickly get the hoover and I'm going to quickly hoover them little bits out. So now that's all cleaned out, we're going to put the new element in. There we go, nice and clean. And it'll simply slot in there. Make sure it's seated in correctly. There's a bit of a lip or a flange around the edge, but you need to get that to sit on. That's in nice there. So we'll now just put the cover back on and tighten all the tech screws back up. That's those screws tightened up. Don't over tighten them because you are running into plastic and they'll strip the thread. So we just got to remember to put this plug back in. Simply clicks in like that, and there's a little cable holder there. Put that back in there. There we go. That's the air filter all done. I'm back under the pit now, so the next job is get this sump plug back in. So that's drained out nicely. I've got the original sump plug. I've removed the copper washer and I'm putting a new copper washer on. So we'll put that on and we'll just wind that in hand tight. The old copper washer took a little bit of getting off. I had to cut it off with a pair of snips, but it came off alright. So that's hand tight. And again, this now wants torquing up. This is 25 Newton meters. There we go. One final clean. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave this cover off for now. We'll get the oil all topped up. I'll run the engine up for a little bit, perhaps 10 minutes or whatever. Probably leave it, go and have a cup of coffee, then come back and check that there's no dripping oil from there. Because the last thing I want to do is spend time putting the cover on and not be 100% certain that this isn't dripping. Right, so now the sump plug's in, we're ready to top the oil up. So what we've got this funnel here, the filler caps there and the dipstick there. So I'm just going to pull the dipstick out and just give it a bit of a clean up. Just pop that back in loosely, and then oil filler cap off, and this funnel, small, how does this go in there? Locks in like that. That gives you a funnel to get the oil down to there. I think this takes, let's see, these are 4 litres. I think it takes about 4.5 litres, so you always have to buy a little tub as well. I'll tell you what, just bear with me, I'm going to get another funnel, else I'm going to end up tipping this all over there. Right, there we go. I've got my third hand holding that. So now, hopefully I'll get this in without making too much of a mess. I can pretty much put nearly all of this in because I know it's going to take most of it, but I'll not put the lot in. I'll put most of it in, and then I'll just check on the dipstick. Okay, I've put about 3.5 litres in there now, so I'm just going to check it on the dipstick, see if we anywhere near, if we're getting onto the gauge. So we've got the marker, there's your marker, minimum and maximum, and we want to be somewhere in between. I don't think it's even showing on there as yet. Yeah, possibly just at the bottom there is where it's showing. So I'm going to stick this extra 1/2 litre in from this tub, and then we'll try it again. So that's that full bottle in there, full 4 litres. So now I want to do the dipstick test again and see if we're anywhere near. Cleaned off nicely there. Dipstick in. And there, we're just under halfway. So I want to add a little bit extra. Right, I've put about another 300 millilitres in there, something like that, just something I had left in a little bottle. So we're going to try again. There we are, just above halfway. I want to get up just that little bit more, I think, because this does use a little bit of oil. I have to top it up, so I think I'll get it up to about 3/4 of that level mark. Right, oil's all done, up to a nice level. Filler cap back on, all done. So now I'm going to move on to the fuel filter. So we need to disconnect this plug here. Not sure how that's it, that just lifts up and slides back. Just lift that plug out of the way. Then we've got the 2 fuel lines. I think they just nip. Yeah, that's right. So we just squeeze that white piece there, and there's one on the other side. Squeeze those in, and that comes off. Now in with these filters. Get these little caps, and you just pop those in just to stop any muck and things from getting in. This side one, just have to squeeze again. So what you do for this hose, we just press down on that white bit there and jiggle it out, and I believe this little red cap there, that just fits on there. So that's everything disconnected now from the filter housing. So what we're going to do is undo that. I think that's a 27mm socket, anti-clockwise again. Just watch it, that doesn't catch on pipes and cables and things. Try and keep everything out the way, so it's starting to drag on there. So I'll just lift that up. And there we go, it's gone underneath it. At the end, just lift that up. There, it's loose. Right, again, piece of cardboard here. So when I lift this out, actually I tell you what I'm going to do. See this hose here? I'll just nip those together. I'll just jiggle that out. Oh, a bit of pressure on there. It's alright. Get that out the way. That'll make life easier. And then we just lift that. All filled up. That there too. I'm going to put that back in because that's leaking a bit of water. So there's the old filter. We'll just bring that over here. Right, I'm just looking in there. Everything doesn't look too bad, so I'm not going to bother wiping all that out. I change the filter regular enough, so we'll just get on and swap this filter over here. So this old one should just pull off like so, and again we've got an O-ring there, same as on the oil filter, so we're going to change that. That's that off. There's our new O-ring. There's that on. new filter. So now I want to put that back in place. I want to see if I can get it under without taking that pipe off. Yeah, probably better off not bothering undoing that. It's probably pretty pointless. Now I've just got to get that in position. Tighten it back up. Right, so that's tightened up. It comes to a little stop there. You can't over tighten it. You feel when it gets there. So now I'm just going to put that little bit of blue roll down there. I'm going to connect this inlet pipe back up like that. Clunk that in. Now what we need to do, I'm hoping this noodle tub will get under there. I'm just going to pump this a few times to fill the filter and housing up, and we'll see it comes out this pipe there. Can you see that? So we get to a point there. There we go. So we've got diesel fully in there. And lift that away. Now we need to connect this pipe back up again. There's that on. Then this plug. I'll just dry everything off. Right, and there's the plug back in place. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to quickly try and start the van. I'm going to leave this cover over to one side, make sure it's not catching anything, just so I can see the filter. We'll start it up. Hopefully there'll be no fuel and things flying around, and we'll also check the sump plug underneath. Right, I'm just going to leave that running for a couple of minutes, and then I'll get down and just check underneath, check the oil leaks and things like that. Everything looks fine up to now. Right, that's it all done. It started up fine. I've been underneath. There's no oil leaks. I've refitted that cover there. Just need to refit this underguard here, this tray that we took off, but there's no point filming that. It's just obviously the reverse order. However, what I will probably do, the bolts that hold it on, like I mentioned before, a little bit of grease, a little bit of copper slip, put them on before I put it back in, just to make my life easier next time I take it off. So she's all good for another 10,000 miles, and she'll get the same treatment again. So I hope this has been helpful. Thanks very much for watching. Give the thumbs up, and I'll see you all next time.